What's up, everybody? It's the Benchwarmers, and we are back with a new series. This is our most exciting series till date. We are going to be ranking the top NBA players by position, current and all-time. We're going to start currently with the point guards who are there today. We're going to be ranking the top 10. We're going to be going into an in-depth analysis as to why we have them ranked this way. Leave your comments as to why you agree or disagree with our rankings below. But without further ado, please like and subscribe. Let's get to who is the number 10 point guard in the NBA today.
At 10 on our list, we had Malcolm Brogdon, a point guard from the Pacers. And we had him because he had a very good season. He averaged 21, 5, and 6 on 47, 39 shooting splits, which is very efficient, and these are some very good stats. And he was a key piece of the Indiana Pacers, and even though I know they didn't go too far in the playoffs as a team, he was a key piece as a facilitator, a scorer, and his defense was actually pretty good that year too. I think it was slightly above average. We almost put Drew Holiday here just because Drew Holiday is a really good defender, but we don't feel like his offense was good enough to make up for that. So given that, we had to have Malcolm Brogdon here.
At number 9, we have the point guard of the Sacramento Kings, DeAaron Fox. DeAaron Fox had an amazing season this past year. He averaged 25 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 7.2 assists and 1.5 steals. And being the quickest player in the league, he definitely has a two-way game. However, he stepped his game up even further in the last few months of the season, as in the last 30 games before the injury that ended his season a few games prematurely, he was averaging 28 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals on insane efficiency. Even though the Sacramento Kings are not good, which is why he is ranked this low, he is definitely a very good player. So he can definitely improve and rank very much higher on this list if the Sacramento Kings perform much better in seasons to come, but for now, he ranks number 9.
At number 8, we have the point guard of the Philadelphia 76ers, at least for now, amid a bunch of trade rumors about him potentially leaving because of his poor playoff performance. But despite that, there's no denying that he is an incredibly talented player. He's a constant triple-double threat as both an amazing facilitator and rebounder. He's also arguably the most versatile defender in the NBA, with the size to guard big men, but also the speed and athleticism to guard guards. The only thing that is really a knock against him is that his shot is really very poor, and he basically doesn't take threes at all. So if he just improved his shot and he had more confidence, which he showed in the playoffs, he lacked a bit of confidence, especially in the series that they ended up losing to the Hawks, then he would definitely place higher on this list because he's incredibly talented and has a ton of potential to improve.
At 7 on our list, we sort of have the opposite situation. We have Russell Westbrook, or as some people like to call him, Russell Westbrick. I think he is very confident with his shot, and his efficiency is a little bit lower. So he averaged 22 points per game with 11.5 assists and 11.7 rebounds, which is absolutely insane, but he did have slightly below average efficiency. But regardless of that, having a triple-double average is absolutely insane. He was a beast on the Wizards, but like I said before, his efficiency is not too great, and he was not winning too many games and leading his team to victories. But his stats were just so good, and he was such an important part of the team that we couldn't have him any lower on this list.
We have to see how well he does in the Lakers before we make a full judgment on him going forward. But without further ado, we go to the number 6 point guard in the league, Chris Paul. Chris Paul in the regular season last year didn't have the most flashy stats, but definitely had a very solid game which led to winning. He averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists, and was one of the clutchest players in the league, if not the clutchest, which has sort of been his modus operandi the past couple years. He is amazing in the fourth quarter, always, no matter where he is, and he can lock up anybody in the league when he wants to. Even though he is only 6 foot listed, probably really 5'10", 5'11", he can work his magic on both ends of the court and really control the pace and flow of the game. He led the Suns to the 2nd seed and eventually to the NBA Finals, and he had a stellar performance in the playoffs. In the first round, he was injured, so After that, the second round onwards, he averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists on 52% from the field, 49% from 3, and 91% from the line. Almost a 50-50-90 season for those last 3 series. So even though he did not come away with his first championship ring, he still played amazingly and deserves his number 6 spot.
Next up at number 5, we have Trey Young, the point guard of the Atlanta Hawks. Now, last year, he had a great regular season with 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. But even then, he was basically considered to be just a top 10 point guard. But after his amazing playoff performance, where he basically put up those same stats, but with higher scoring, about 30 points per game, he shot up to become a top 5 point guard in our opinion. So he basically carried the Hawks all the way to the conference finals, shocking the 76ers along the way. And he's just honestly one of the greatest offensive weapons in the league. He's an incredible playmaker. He can create shots for himself and hit those shots. And then he can also drive and hit floaters as well. The only thing that is really not his biggest strength is his athleticism and his defense specifically. But as an offensive player, he's one of the best in the league.
And at 4, we had Kyrie Irving, another absolutely insane player. He averaged 27 points per game on 5 rebounds and 6 assists, which is extremely good for a point guard. And he had 50-40 shooting splits, which is also absolutely insane. He played very well on the Nets despite it being one of his first full seasons with them. He's an elite ball handler. He was an elite scorer. He basically did exactly what the Nets wanted to do for them, except he was battling some injuries, so we couldn't have him above other players on this list, but he's still a phenomenal player this year.
Now we get to the third best point guard in the league, and in our opinion, these 3 sort of are in a class of their own. However, at number 3, we have Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. It's Dame time. Damian Lillard averaged 29 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists on 46, 39, 92 splits in the regular season, carrying the Blazers to the 6th seed in a loaded Western Conference without the help of CJ McCollum after the first few games. And CJ McCollum returned but wasn't 100% even at the end of the season. Besides him, there were only role players such as Robert Covington, Carmelo Anthony, and Yusuf Nurkic, and Dame basically had to carry the Blazers on his back. And there were several occasions where he kept the game close or actually won the Blazers really close games, and that was what ultimately made the difference. They made the playoffs and they got 2 games off of one of the best teams in the West, the Denver Nuggets, before eventually losing to them. However, although Dame might have expressed a little bit of concern over the team's lack of progress in the offseason, he is still committed to the Blazers for the foreseeable future and should average similar stats, if not even better, in the season to come.
And at number 2, we have Luka Doncic, the 22-year-old point guard for the Dallas Mavericks. It's absolutely insane how he's one of the youngest players on this list and still one of the best. And I have no doubt that one day he will have that number 1 point guard spot. But last year he was amazing as always, it seems, with 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists, basically nearly averaging a 30-point triple-double across the season. He's an amazing 3-level scorer who can also facilitate, and he also has very good size for a point guard. He actually is able to play small forward and shooting guard as well. This great size allows him to rebound well and play in the paint better than most other point guards in the league. Like many players on this list, he is just a bit weak defensively and he isn't super fast. So that's why he may not be the best point guard yet. But I think as he continues to develop his game, he will eventually take that top spot.
Before we reveal our top spot, we're about to reveal some honorable mentions which couldn't make the list, as this is a loaded position. The point guard position is arguably the toughest position to rank highly in the NBA, as it's probably the most skill-based. These are obviously the shortest players, and they're able to push through strife and struggle against bigger players throughout their childhood, high school, and college to make it to the NBA and then eventually succeed. So, without further ado, here are the 4 honorable mentions which could not make the list. First, we had Drew Holiday, who was a great defender and the 3rd option on the championship Milwaukee Bucks team. There was Ja Morant, who had an okay regular season, but stepped it up in the playoffs, averaging 30 points a game versus the Jazz and scoring 47 in one game. Then you have Kyle Lowry, who didn't play too well last year, didn't play too many games, but this season should have a revitalized role as the third option on the Miami Heat team, who is looking to have a bounce back season after getting swept out of the first round last season. And finally, our last cut was Jamal Murray, who has a torn ACL. He was amazing in the NBA bubble of 2020, and leading the Nuggets to the conference finals before losing to the Lakers. However, this season, he was doing okay. He was doing very solidly, a little bit better than last year's regular season. Obviously, it wasn't as good as the bubble, but it ended. His season ended, unfortunately, very early, and he likely will not be playing for most of the season, if not the entire season. Before we reveal our number one spot, please like and subscribe, as it would mean so much to us and hopefully to you, as it would let us get more content like this to you guys.
And finally, at number one, we have the man, we have the chef, we have the inspiration to anyone out there, Stephen Curry. He was the league's leading scorer, two-time MVP, a one-time unanimous MVP, three-time champion, and this season he averaged 32 points per game on 5.5 rebounds and 5.8 assists on 48, 42, 92 shooting splits, which is absolutely insane. And he did all of this in only 34 minutes, unlike some of the other guys on this list who averaged around 35 plus points per game. The Warriors weren't too good this season, and they were they finished the 8th seed after the regular season, but they didn't end up making the playoffs after the play-in tournament. But I think Stephen Curry really showed why he was the best player at the point guard position. He really balled out, and he basically led a team of G Leaguers and Draymond Green to a near playoff spot. So I think he absolutely deserves this position, and he played very well.
But that wraps it up for this video ranking the top 10 point guards in the league. Make sure to like it if you liked, and let us know why in the comments below if you didn't. Also, please subscribe because we are on the road to 100 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to us if you did. And also, it would be great for you to subscribe because we do have more of these ranking videos coming out that I'm sure you will enjoy. And after we finish all 5 positions, we will do a huge cumulative ranking our favorite NBA players in the whole league, which you should definitely stay tuned for. So this is the Benchwarmers, and we're signing out. See ya.